every 20 minutes. It's your statewide Alabama weathercast.
Good morning, I'm meteorologist James McCombs with the Alabama Weather Network. We've got your morning forecast update and taking a look at some of our beautiful pictures from our sky watchers that have been sent in over the last 24 hours or so. This one was from Lucretia Wyatt at Logan Martin Lake. This was the sunset yesterday, and again, you can see some beautiful colors in the sky there as the sun's going down and reflection off the lake as well. Tyne Wingo and Corner also from yesterday afternoon and evening. Starting to see the sunset there with some of the colors in the clouds, and got the nice pine branches hanging out there. And then from this morning, Robin Chouanier in Orange Beach has beautiful sky colors there with pink in the clouds and oranges and hues of blue, and just a beautiful backdrop there along the coast. So as we take a look at our satellite and radar, as we expected, we've got a good bit of cloud cover over the northern half of the state. You can see pretty socked in most of the northern and central part of the state. In the northeast corner, getting a little bit more sunshine, and then quite a bit of sunshine along the southern part of the state here. So warming up pretty good already down south, but not as much in the northern part of the state. Some showers starting to stream in with this little frontal boundary that's helping to reinforce our dry air mass. But we really expect, with the lack of moisture in place, that it's going to be very minimal showers, maybe a few sprinkles. Not everybody's seeing those. Mainly going to be cloud cover for, again, that kind of northern half of the state for today. You see that looking at the Skycam network. Russellville got plenty of clouds there, kind of mid and high level clouds. Temperatures only at 66 degrees, probably not too far off from what the morning low was in Russellville, with the dew points at 54 degrees. So still got that comfortable air mass in place for sure. As we move further towards the south, we see in Alabaster that we're a little bit warmer at 71 degrees. Maybe a few more peaks of sunshine coming through the clouds, but it's still a pretty good cloud deck there with dew points in the low 60s. And as we move further to the south, Jefferson's got a little bit more sunshine for sure, but there still are a few clouds around there as you move further to the south. And then going all the way down to the coast at Dauphin Island, but looking towards the north, lots of blue skies there. Temperature already in the low 80s with the dew points at 64. So again, those dew points still nice for this time of year. So got that nice air mass continuing to stay across the entire state. So what the story is and what we're watching for this for today and this week is a few sprinkles possible today, like we've mentioned already, mainly in the northern half of the state. And then as we get into tonight, we'll expect, again, in the northern half of the state, that it'll be fairly widespread low temperatures in the 50s. Could very well challenge or break some record lows for tonight, so we'll be keeping an eye on that. As you get further to the south, though, lows will be in the 60s and still a very cool night across the board. And then we'll have a return of rain chances again as we get into kind of Thursday night and into Friday that we'll be keeping an eye on as we move to that point of the week. So low temperatures so far this morning, gotten into the 60s in many spots, but you can see it's actually been cooler in sort of the kind of south central and eastern part of the state compared to the northwest corner, where you would typically expect to see lower temperatures. It's only got down to 68 in Florence, 66 in Hamilton versus 60 in Alexander City and 63 in Auburn and 60 in Troy. And over here in kind of the eastern corner, got some places that got down into the upper 50s, according to some of our Sky Watchers reports. And so again, this was because of the cloud cover that was coming in from the northwestern part of the state that helped to kind of keep a blanket over things in the northwestern corner to not let it get quite as cool as it would have otherwise. But temperatures right now have not moved up a ton in the northern part of the state. It's 71 in Birmingham, it's 67 in Hamilton, lower 70s in many spots. But as you move to the south, 80 in Andalusia, it's 80 in Chatham. So we're starting to get into the 80s as we get further to the south, where you've got more sunshine coming out. Dew points, though, again, this comfortable air mass is still entrenched. We've got dew points in the 50s across much of the state, including further down to the south than you would normally expect. 57 in Andalusia, 56 in Monroeville, and still 60s down at the coast. So we'll definitely take this in August for sure. All right, it's election day, municipal elections across the state for today. This is your North Alabama forecast for elections, just kind of looking at some hourly temperatures and sky conditions. So as we move through the morning, expect to move through the 70s and eventually top out around 80 in some spots, but I think the places that have lots of cloud cover may not get out of the 70s. That's very possible. And you can see that we do have clouds around now. Maybe see a few more peaks of sunshine as we get later in the day. Then things starting to kind of clear out as we get later in the evening and getting back down into the 60s as we get late tonight. For South Alabama, definitely a little bit warmer there and a little bit more sunshine. So expect more sunshine, warmer temperatures, getting up maybe into the upper 80s in many spots. But again, the air mass is more comfortable, so it will be pretty pleasant out there for Election Day. So here's your forecast lows for tonight. Like we mentioned, we very well could break some records across especially the northern part of the state, expecting to get down to 55 in Anniston, 53 in Coleman, 58 in Birmingham, down towards the south, more into the low 60s, and really expecting across the state that we'll reach even the upper 60s all the way down to the beaches. So again, cool night ahead. And as we look at our futurecast, so we can see our scattered showers possible and a few of the clouds moving through here. But as we get later on in the afternoon, the sun will start to peek out a little bit more in the northern part of the state as the clouds move towards the south. But really looking at this, you just don't see much rain at all. So we really don't expect much out of this. No accumulations really to speak of with this. And as we get into tomorrow morning, again, starting to clear out, and that's where we'll see the cooler temperatures to the north. And Wednesday should be beautiful again, kind of like we saw yesterday. Just beautiful day with lots of dry air in place and comfortable conditions for sure. Before, as we get into Thursday, some showers start to move in again. And so we'll look at increasing rain chances as we get into Thursday with this next front trying to come into the state. All right, we're continuing to watch the tropics, but thankfully there's not a lot to look at right now. We've got Tropical Storm Fernand, which is still out in the Atlantic, but moving further away from the U.S. And it's just not very healthy at this point. The circulation isn't exposed here. You can see it right there, but the convection is being kind of blown off from us, being sheared apart, and expecting it to become post-tropical here in the next day or so. You can see, looking at the forecast from the NHC, just a 40-mile-per-hour storm at this point, so just a minimal tropical storm with the 10 a.m. advisory, and that will continue to weaken and become post-tropical here and go ahead and move further to the northeast. All right, development chance for the next 7 days in the Atlantic, no development chance. We don't see anything from the NHC. The only thing was this wave that we'd been monitoring in the last few days, but not expecting that to develop at this point as it moves further west in the Caribbean. You can see there at the end of the loop, do have a development region there in the Pacific, but that's not going to affect us at all here in Alabama. The Gulf is still kind of closed for business for the next week. All right, so your 7-day forecast, again, we're expecting beautiful conditions, especially tomorrow, but it'll still be getting up in the upper 70s, around 80 degrees a day with that small chance of a shower here and there. Tomorrow's beautiful, cool morning to start off, and then seeing those little bit of rain chances coming in as we get into the later part of the weekend, and also into the weekend as well. Temperatures moderating, getting a little bit closer to seasonal norms, but still below normal, and those night times will still be comfortable compared to what they can be when you have a lot of humidity in place. And then for South Alabama, again, we'll get into the upper 80s, maybe touching 90 in some spots today. Fairly cool start tomorrow, and then again, rain chances increasing as we head into the weekend as well. A little bit higher rain chances for the weekend for the southern and coastal parts of the state for sure compared to the northern half of the state. All right, that is your Alabama forecast. We'll have another one coming up in a few hours on the Alabama Weather Network.